Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Show. It's February the 11th, 2014. My name is Joe Brett. I'm a broker with RE/MAX Ideal Brokers of Medford.
I'm Pete Belcastro, a broker with John L. Scott, and welcome to the show tonight. You know, once a month here on RVTV, we get together and talk with some great guests about real estate and real estate-related issues throughout Jackson County and Josephine County and Southern Oregon, and you name it, and that's what we talk about.
And topical issues even tonight on the docket with some voters' choices that are coming up this May that folks are going to get a chance to learn about.
That's coming up. You're ahead. That's in the second part
That's
of
what
our
happens
show.
when you let me start.
The second segment too tonight. Well, you know, in May we've got the OSU Extension Service Vote. Randy White from the JSWCD, the Jackson Soil Water Conservation District, is here. We're going to talk about what they did to get their vote, of course, approved, and what the OSU Extension Service means. Also, the JSWCD has a big open house coming up, and we'll tell you and show you some of their new building as well. That's in segment 2 tonight.
And you had the pleasure to go out and take some pictures out there. We'll take a look at your camera work tonight, too.
All right, yeah, okay.
In our first segment, we're going to welcome Jim Pelizzola and Sandy Boughton from Mortgage Express. What's new in the mortgage and the financing landscape for 2014? What's ahead for the year? What are interest rates up to? We're going to cover all of that and have our market watch for you as well.
All right, and of course, we're on the radio and KMED every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. We invite you to tune in there. We also have a website at realestateshowOregon.com. We invite you to go there. It's got names, it's got email addresses and phone numbers of many of our guests. If you want to get a hold of them, they'd love to talk to you as well.
And Pete and I, besides just being the host of the show, are actually real estate brokers, and our contact information is on there as well. It's no cost or obligation just to ask a question or find out what the value of your home might be or where you might stand in the market. We're always there to help.
Good news, it's raining as we do our live show here on February the 11th. We're still praying for rain and snow. Anyway, we're going to take a break, come back. The Real Estate Show is next here on RVTV. And welcome back to the Real Estate Show on RVTV, our live show on February the 11th of 2014. This show, of course, will repeat throughout the month on various RVTV channels in Jackson and Josephine counties. Well, welcome to the second segment 2 tonight. You know, in 2006, voters in Jackson County approved a 5-cent property tax levy increase, and the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District, the JSWCD as we know it, kind of sprung to life, at least in its current form, even though it dates back earlier than that. That 5-cent levy, you know, wasn't very much. On my levy, it's $13 a year for all the great things that we hear. And Randy White, the executive director of that, is with us here, along with Dennis Morgan, who is an advocate for the Oregon State University Extension Service, which also has a levy that we're going to talk about coming up tonight as well. Nice to see you both here tonight with us. Randy, first of all, you're like every time it's like passing all the time. You're like going somewhere, doing something in the meeting here and there. Yeah. The JSWCD, you're in your new office now. Tell me what you've been up to here. We're here in mid-February almost.
We're actually in and settled now. We've been trying on that since the 15th of September. But yeah, we're in and settled and doing good. Our elevator's working. We're actually have our conference room going and have that booked and have a lot of our partners coming in and utilizing the facilities that way. So we're up and going.
It's really well. So your staff and everything, in the winter, I know that it's such a strange winter for soil and water and all the kinds of things that we talk about.
Lack of water.
Lack of water, no snow.
Yes.
And then are you preparing for anything in particular, or are you just kind of,
actually,
are you just hoping?
Actually, March 8th with OSU, it's another one of our partnerships with OSU. We're working on a managing for drought on farms and ranches. So we'll have a class set up that we're going to do that, and it'll be a half-day in classroom talking about different management options that you can do when you're considering that you're going to be moving into a drought, or we expect a drought. And we have no idea how long that's going to take, but what are the things that you can do on your farms and ranches to help make that work. So working with Maud Powell and at OSU on that. And so half a day inside, and then the other half a day based off of your interest, you can go and look at crop utilization and rainwater and how that could be utilized for crops, or you can go out to a ranch in Eagle Point and look at a livestock operation and see what they're doing to prepare for drought from a livestock and from a pasture standpoint.
And if people own rural properties, we certainly, this is, you're going to have to face this, so we hope that happens. And as we said earlier,
faced it before, and we'll probably face it again.
But we also remember, we did learn one thing, was that a quarter of all property sales in Jackson County are rural properties.
Yeah, you tried to trick me on that.
I know I did. I mean, a quarter of them, that's a lot. It's 1 out of 4, that are a rural property that we do that. Well, let's talk to Dennis here for just a moment as well. Dennis, you are a small woodland owner.
That's correct.
So tell me about your place. Where is it and what do you got?
Well, let me back up a little bit even further than that. We moved here back in 2003 and fell in love with the area. We were in Nevada.
In Nevada.
And I brought my business up here, and we looked for property and found this place. We just fell in love with it, and I thought maybe we'd get, maybe 10 acres, kind of live the Oregon dream. And,
that 10 acre,
we ended up with 96 and built a house on it, and took us 2 years to get the house built. We moved up on the property in 2005, and we're just loving it.
So about 100 acres.
Right.
You get about 100 acres of trees.
Trees, exactly.
So now, I've met many people who've gone through the courses from JSWCD and Jack Duggan, who we've met, other guys, other people who have done the same thing as you have. Are you managing your woodlands? Tell me how you're doing it.
Well, again, it's interesting because when we fell in love with the property, but we were city dwellers. I mean, we didn't know anything about, first of all, living in the country or about managing a forest.
Let me tell you, you're not alone, obviously, in people who are doing that, yes.
So we said, gee, I wonder if they have an extension office here. And so I went to the extension. We found it in Central Point and went out and met with the extension forester, Max Bennett, who was just a great fella. And he gave us a lot of information and tied us in with a lot of resources, and basically gave us the confidence that we could really manage this property. So we bought it and moved up. The property had been high graded about 30 years prior to us buying it. And had a lot of overgrown forest area there, and we've gone through and done a lot of thinning activity. In fact, we've been through the whole property at this point in time.
And your house is fire safe, kind of things like that, and all the kind of things that we've talked about doing.
Exactly.
Well, good for you. Now you were past president of the, was it Jackson County
Josephine Small Woodlands Association.
All right. And so what is your tie-in with the Oregon State University Extension Service? How does that tie in?
Well, basically, we co-sponsor a lot of programs with OSU Extension, And Max Bennett serves on our board as a treasurer, and he basically provides a lot of input and helps us put together a lot of programs. We utilize the extension facilities for our meetings, and we have opened up our meetings to basically other people that are interested in forest and natural resources information. So.
And of course, Randy, the Soil and Water Conservation District, I mean, you do a lot of things together with the Extension Service.
Right.
I mean, like,
Well, we just
gosh,
finished
I
with
mean,
the
you
land
do
stewards class.
Land Stewards
I think
class.
we had over 30 people this time, and we've run over 120 people through the land stewards class with Extension. And I believe it's over 5,000 acres now have
Yes,
plans
I think so.
for their property. So the landowners have plans
Part of the
to
class.
deal with their partners. They have to develop a plan
Part of the
as
class.
part
you
of the
develop a
class.
plan. Did you do that?
So-
Did you do
No,
that?
I went through the OSU Extension also has a Master Woodland Manager
Right.
program
Right.
that
Okay.
they run,
Right. The
and I went
master
through
one.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you went
yes.
that way around.
The land stewards is more of a general, so it talks a little bit about forestry, it talks a little
Exactly.
bit about pasture, livestock management.
But you
And
had, did you make a plan for your?
Yes.
You had to
Oh,
come up with
yes.
a plan as well. Are you
Exactly.
following that still? I mean,
Yes,
are you
we've
saying that
actually
you're following it?
yes, in fact we basically need to revise it again because we've basically done all the things we wanted to get done in it. so.
5,000 acres. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I mean, that's quite a
Yeah.
bit. That.
And I would tell you that the land stewards, there is not, I don't think, a more enthusiastic group
Right.
of people interested in the environment and preserving the quality of life that we have here in Southern Oregon than the
And
land stewards.
then they pay that back too with some volunteer hours.
Yeah, exactly.
So they pay for the course,
Okay.
but part of that is they pay that they have to volunteer. And one of the things that they can get involved with is the Living on the Lands conference. I believe that's coming up April 5th, I believe.
Not sure.
And that has grown tremendously. When we first started that, we had maybe 40, 50 people attending, and there was a series of 9 classes throughout the day. Last year, I had planned for that. I teach one of the classes there, and I had planned for maybe 17 people in my class, and it ended up standing room only. We had probably about 45 or 50 in that class, and all the rest of the classes were the same way.
Wow.
So again, that's where the citizens of Jackson County have found a great partnership with OSU Extension and with the district, and they see that they're getting something out of that. It's not one of those things like with the tax rate limits. Yes, they're going out and asking for funds, but they're funds to help them do the things that they need to do on their properties or on their houses that are going to benefit the citizens of Jackson County, even if it's them working on it. Remember, as we talked before, a lot of people move here because we do have open space. And so that the things that OSU Extension and the district are doing with landowners in the partnerships that we have on there are not only helping them stay on the land, but it's keeping that land as open space and the aesthetic, things that other people want to move here for.
Sure.
So it's an important part of our community, our custom and our culture, if you want to think about it that way. Not to mention our economy.
Yeah, well, look at all the things,
is,
all the things that it brings around. Well, I think people, if people want to go to our website at realestateshoworegon.com, our radio show from last Saturday, which was what was last Saturday, the 8th of the 8th of February it was. We had an interesting conversation about wine and what's happening with land and wine in Jackson, Josephine counties. And where that is going. And I think, believe me, after listening to this, we're going to see a transformation of our land here because large owners or large wineries are looking at buying in our valley. So be aware of these things around us and the water that goes with that and developing these things and the effects it has on watersheds and all this kind of stuff is going to be enormous. Isn't it
It's
true?
going to be gigantic.
It's going to really have a tectonic kind of impact here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and there's a lot of education that needs to go on for that too. Not only the people that are coming in and buying it, but for people that are going to be living adjacent to those properties. How do you have that back and forth, with the landowners and keeping that open space and valuing that? It's a big issue.
And Dennis, do you see other landowners, your neighbors, interested in this kind of the development, the plans that you're seeing, or is it so isolated, it's just so very few of you, or is that slowly beginning to come around
No,
to people?
I think it is. In fact, there have been a couple people in my neighborhood that have started to do a lot of management of their properties because they've seen what we've been doing and that kind of thing. So I think it's neighbors helping neighbors basically to try to.
Well,
That's one of the biggest things as you see is the neighbors helping neighbors. So, we may have directly impacted with that and with our pasture management class, X number of acres directly, but then it's people across the fence seeing, well, how come my grass doesn't look that way? How come my trees don't look as healthy as their trees? And they start having that conversation back and forth. And so indirectly, then you start multiplying those numbers.
Why do I have all this mud?
Yeah.
In my
And they don't.
And they don't. And they don't. And we could solve those problems.
Yep.
So I wish I knew all this when I was at the ranch growing up. We didn't have this kind of stuff. I mean, it just.
And between OSU providing education, which is kind of what their mandate is, and then the district, Solon Water Conservation District, working with them to help get the implementation done of those plans on their property, and then working together, and if needed, finding the financial resources to be able to get those things done. It makes for a pretty good working relationship.
It's a great relationship. And again, so we'll be voting now in May on the OSU Extension Service Levy, a 5-cent levy. And one of the things about extension you have to remember, this is only a partial. We're not talking a great deal of money here by any means, but there's three stools,
Three legs of the stool.
that
That's
you
right.
have
Three
to
legs
have
of
to do
the
this.
stool.
And it's just like you've heard that about Oregon politics. We've got two legs. We've got a property tax. No, we have property tax and we have income tax, no sales tax kind of thing. So the extension services are funded. Each county, the way I understand, have always been, each county has to provide a small part of the funding to make the deal work, right?
Exactly.
And that's what we've done.
The county right now provides about 11% of the overall extension funding.
11%. I didn't know that.
And every dollar that the county puts in or has put into the OSU Extension each year, the faculty brings in contracts, grants, and federal and state funding of $8.48. So there's a lot of leverage that comes
That actually is a pretty
OSU
good
Extension.
investment, isn't it, for that,
It
for
is.
that dollar?
It's
isn't
very
it?
good.
That really is quite extensive there.
Yes.
And of course, how does and you work with them? I know that. So people have this choice to do this, but there's also it's woodlands. It's also 4-H kids.
Oh, there's woodlands, there's 4-H, there's master gardeners, there's master food preservers, there's
Small farms.
Small farms. I mean,
Small
think of all of the plethora of vendors we have in the farmers markets now. A lot of those have come about because of courses at OSU Extension. So we have not only are we providing jobs to more of our citizens, but we're also providing with fresh food.
And that's one of the
grown.
big things that we're seeing in our county, isn't it, Randy? As we've gone over the years, is the number of people who are
Farm to plate.
farm to plate kinds of operations. We're seeing those. We're seeing a kind of a comeback to.
Exactly.
To the what do you call that? Back to the
Well, it's just
farm, back to the
basically knowing,
roots?
a lot
Back
of
to the
people
land.
want, a lot
Back
of
to the
people want to
land.
know where their food comes from.
Yeah.
And that's important to them. And Jackson County is set up so that they can actually do that pretty easily. Just with a little bit of training, a little bit of help.
And many of these people have to go to use the extension services expertise to start it, because you don't know. I don't know if you know how to come in and do something like that.
Well, yeah, and
Maybe you do.
the Master Gardeners program through Extension basically has set up 30 community gardens around the county that help people grow fresh food themselves, so they can grow it and watch it grow and harvest it themselves. So
When are we going to be able to do that year round? We have a wonderful Rotary Garden that provides the Ashland Food Bank during the season.
Right.
My
With
goodness,
we're
hundreds
getting
and
a
hundreds
lot
of pounds.
more-
How do we do that
Getting
year
a lot
round?
more of the high tunnels coming in so that you can actually do that year round, so that you do have temperature control. And then, using efficient irrigation systems with drip irrigation or misting or other things that you can do inside of high tunnels. Or, I was just down at the NACD conference, and just all the things that we can do. And we need to be starting to look more at vertical farming too, that allows for taking up more space. I mean, I looked at it where they had vegetables growing vertically. So you had a lettuce in one section, and then
What
maybe
do you mean, like
cabbage
vertically,
growing up.
You mean like what do you mean, like on a thing?
Yeah, it's on, it's on a
trellis,
pedestal. Well, this is on pedestals, and they have it. It's actually made out of, oh, I can't tell you, but it's permeable, and so you could have lettuce plants, 5 of them around this post,
Okay.
and then you go up
they grow
again,
up.
and then you could have 5 cabbage plants sitting up there, and then you go up again, and you could have, you know, something else growing in there, strawberries or things like that. And they set these up then into the raised beds. And as you irrigate through that, it's all permeable, so that water then is irrigating those, but then it's also
it comes
irrigating
down to the others.
raised beds. And people are now starting to think more about, instead of flower gardens, of having edible gardens. Because,
Yes.
because you know, you can have a lot of very nice looking plants in an edible garden
Right.
that still allows for the aesthetics, it still allows for the pollinators that you need to have. And
See, whenever Randy goes to the national conference, he comes back and
I haven't been able to
he's
talk to
just
my
full
urban
of
planner
ideas,
yet,
and his
but
staff goes,
I'm going to
"Oh,
overwhelm her. Yeah, don't
I got
ever
a
go
staff
again.
like this. No.
But you know, these are things again that we can work with OSU
They don't
on,
cost
and
a lot
OSU
of
can
money.
work with us, and it doesn't cost money to do it. And it actually, I mean, it's a savings of money, but it's also a savings of water. It's a savings of soil. It's using all of those efficiently. And there's some pretty neat things that we can be doing. And I want to do that with the schools. And there's one of the things that they had was a Valor farm down there where vets were coming back that wanted to be farmers. This allowed them to learn some different farming practices that they could do. And you know, we've got the VA hospital. We've got, you know, we've just barely hit the tip of the iceberg with the things that we can do in this county.
I got things that
And
are
we need to have
evolving to the
folks
use that
like,
they-
you know, we need to have entities like OSU Extension and the district to be able to be here to help people realize their dreams. That's why they're moving here.
Exactly.
You know,
Well,
and
and
it's just,
they're coming, aren't they,
They're
Randy?
coming.
I mean, we see them, obviously, Dennis, you see them too, don't you? I mean, when you go to meetings, I'm sure you have someone new in the corner, you know, who's, we always tell them, once they get here, you know, and all the issues, of course, in real estate with rural properties, you know, from, I have a sewer system now I have to do, and I have to, what is that? And
what's a well?
the well comes, the water comes from where? And,
but
I
that's
have to
part
do
of that's
what?
part of what we're looking at with the planning processes that we go through.
Yeah.
We're not planning for tomorrow. We're planning for tomorrow plus 50 years from now. What is this county going to look like 50 years from now? And if we're not thinking about that now and trying to educate ourselves and educate the population, then we're not doing a service to anybody.
Absolutely. What else? What else did you learn at the conference about things that might be coming in the future for us?
Again, a lot of that. I mean, it was just things that can be done in a small scale and have a large return on your investment, a positive return on the investment for a lot of small scale. And we looked at stormwater. You know, and what are we doing with stormwater?
Still a big
what are we
issue.
doing with rain barrels? What are we doing with again, gardens that don't require as much water? All these types of things that low impact development issues that as this county grows and continues to grow, and I don't believe it's going to stop, and I don't think it should stop, but it needs to be organized and it needs to be well thought out, and we need to be thinking about integrating these practices so that I can be growing if I want to. I can, like I told you, that 14,000 plants on less than 1/5 of an acre. You know, that we can be growing edible plants on, and the technology is there to do that.
Doesn't that change that changes the equation around, doesn't it? When you to do something like that, less land, like so many things. You know, you don't need we don't need as many big retail spaces or small. You know, you don't need as big offices as you used to have, et cetera, et cetera.
And if you're talking about again the vineyards coming in and taking up large sections, that doesn't mean that we still can't have a small farm and have it be a viable part of our community.
Well, if we could ever do it year-round, you know, Randy, grow some of those things. That's what you got to work on. Start that one, you know, of being able to do that on a year-round basis, because that would really change the whole farm. Well, it would just make it.
Well, I think if you
could
look
make
at
a
it
living doing
with
it almost
OSU,
then.
I mean, with a small farmer, they're looking at doing these things already.
Yeah.
And again, these are places where we're partnering, and it's just been fantastic. It's one of the best kept secrets in the valley here.
Well, and the Small Farms Program has this, a program called Growing Agripreneurs. Agripreneurs, that's right.
I've never heard that term.
And
That's
60% of the people that have gone through this program have opened their own commercial farm operation.
Really?
Yeah, so it really, in addition to helping our community, it's helping the economy because we're getting jobs and we're getting things going here as opposed to.
It's always remarkable, isn't it, what people can do with their land, those who are so committed and love their land so much. And we've been on the Ashland Food Co-op tours, you know, to farms around the region here, and some of the things that some of the things people do and is quite remarkable, and it's going to be a trend that's not. It's only going to get more and more, I think, as we go along. So you're kind of gearing up for that, aren't you? I mean, in that kind of in that direction, which is really good. We're going to be out of time. I just want to kind of go back to the Extension Service again.
Sure.
Well, before I do that, let me go back.
Just remember the open house.
Jackson's. I had some pictures here, but this computer has decided not to participate with us. But maybe we'll get Joe to edit them on there. But the JSWCD has their open house. Randy, tell us about it. When it's coming
February
up?
25th.
Tuesday.
We're organized well enough that we decided we could have an open house now from 1 to 4 o'clock, and we've had. Of course, staff will be there, and our board. It's a time for people to come in and meet the staff and board, see our new office, see the things that we have to offer physically with the office, and how we're planning for the future so that we can expand if and when needed. So we want people to see that.
I've already heard that you have conference rooms, and meeting space in this valley it's so hard to come by so much. I heard that people are using your conference rooms, that the building itself, as you wanted it to be, was a welcoming place for people to use, and I hear that that's happening. Is that true?
Yep, yeah, it is, and it's being used. It's being used almost every day now. But at this meeting, or at this open house, we also want people to meet our partners, the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service, and again, they're the ones that are helping with some of the high tunnels financially to get those up in the valley here, and Farms Service Agency and Rural Development, so to be able to meet some of those partners that we have along with us there. So welcome to come out. We'll have refreshments and have some brochures about the different projects that we're working on. So.
Yeah, it's right across from the Grange Co-op in Central Point. So when you come down Highway 99, you can't miss it on Alder Street. It's got a big green sign there, and maybe we can show that picture to you at some point. Well, that'll be really good. I know it's a lot of hard work. Now you can go on to other things, and you can put that behind you. As you just have that list, you cross them off one at a time.
We can use that funding to help with more educational programmings and partnerships and do all the things that we've been planning on doing.
Yeah, okay. So. Dennis, I'm going to say the Extension Service, I mean, this is kind of, people are going to be hearing a lot more of this, I know. You've got a campaign going on.
That's right.
You've been on that committee. Tell me how you've been doing. Tell me what you all are planning on doing, if you know so far.
Well, basically, there will be a ballot measure on the May ballot for the agricultural extension and 4-H. It covers all that, the extension programs. And we are set up to, the maximum levy is 5 cents per thousand. We anticipate, and the Board of Commissioners will have actually set how much it is at any point in time, but the maximum is 5 cents a thousand. We anticipate initially it'll be about 3.3 cents a thousand. And that will go to fund basically the county share of the three-legged stool.
Of that three-legged stool
that we need to
that's
have.
About and that's 11% of the extension services
it has been
budget,
11%.
roughly 11%.
And that's down because of a lot of the cuts in the county funding that we've gotten over the years. So we're trying to get extension built back up to where it was, so we can provide more services to the county.
The best thing is that it takes it out of the political world and gives it funding. So we don't hold
secure
4-H and FFA, and we don't hold the master gardeners hostage to the political tankerings down at the courthouse with the budget committees. I mean, this is the way to do it. And look how stable the Soil and Water Conservation District became by doing this very thing. You were the first one to do this. And look how stable and the great things that you do. Talk about a return of investment. That's a great one. And the Extension Services, I'm sorry, is even more so a better return. I mean, when you think about that by what it is.
Yes, definitely. And you think about all of the things that we do in the community, like I talked about, this community gardens, the 4-H kids. We help
Senior Services. Sharon Johnson here did shows for years through the Extension Service here.
And we're still doing senior health and nutrition classes, those kinds of things. And then we also work in the economy. I mean, if you think about all of the growth in the wineries over the last few years, we're involved in that. We're involved with the orchardists. We support the small farmers, we support the orchards, the vineyards, the home gardener, and all of that really creates a lot of economic activity within the county.
I don't think I'd want to live in Jackson County if the Oregon State University Extension Service wasn't here. It would really change our county a great deal, and none of it would be to any good.
It really means
it really wouldn't. So
it really means a lot to the
well,
overall.
good luck with you, Dennis and Morgan,
Thank
on
you.
on the campaign. And like I say, we supported the JSWCD 2006 when it became what it is today, and what a great thing we watched it grow and do so many good things. Extension Service has been here, and I think people of Jackson County are going to support it as well. So thank you and good
Great.
luck to you, and we'll talk to you soon. That's going to do it
Thanks,
for our
Pete.
real estate show today here on RVTV. We're with you every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock on KMED AM 1440. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.